Hello and welcome to another Scottish mountain walking guide. For today's video I climb An Teallach and the two mountains Sgurr Fiona and Bidein a Ghlas Thuill. An Teallach is one of the most spectacular mountains in Scotland and really should only be climbed on a clear day to fully appreciate the grandeur of the mountain. I've chosen the easiest route, bypassing the scramble over the pinnacles, and once again I do not recommend my descent. I'll explain more during the route walkthrough. The total distance for this walk is 15.4 kilometres with 1,413 metres of ascent. You start from the Halley car park, which is free, there are no height restrictions, and it fits around 10 vehicles. The car park was full when I arrived, and there is a second smaller parking area slightly south of the car park that fits around 6 vehicles. I was fortunate and I managed to get the last space. There is also an An Teallach car park at Dundonald, around 5 minutes north of the Halley car park, and this is the starting point for the Walk Highlands route. It's around 4.5 hours drive from Glasgow or Edinburgh. This is the Halley car park. I actually parked a little bit south, just round the corner here, so I walked up to this junction here. There is a gravel road that goes off to the left hand side. You go up that gravel road, go round the bend and go through a gate just here, and then you follow that gravel road as it goes up the side. There's a river here, quite a steep drop down to that river. So you follow that gravel road heading south. Just continue to follow the road. It'll descend a little bit down here. Gets a little bit wet here as you got to cross the river. There is a bridge and there's a ford for 4x4 vehicles. So you cross over the bridge, continue to follow that gravel road. It zigzags a little bit and gets quite steep as it's going up here. On the day I did the walk, the midges were quite bad if you stopped at any point along this road. Continue further up, still on the 4x4 gravel road. There is a large cairn just here. It's only when you zoom in close enough on the map that you see this road. So the gravel road continues to the south, and you want to leave that heading more to the west. There's actually 2 cairns right at the exit of the gravel road onto this path, and you follow that path. The path itself, as you can see here, it continues slightly further south, and you want to leave the more prominent path and go off to your right. I missed this on the walk. I was a little bit further down. I was looking out for this stream. This stream here is the last point where you can get to any water before you go on the ridge. And when I was checking with my position relevant to the stream, I noticed I was on the lower path here. So you'll see in the video I backtracked a little bit, but then I cut across and joined up the main path. After this junction here, then the route is clear until you get close to the pinnacles. I'll describe that in a moment. So we've filled up with water, continue to follow the path. Little bits of it were slightly vague going up here, but once you got a bit higher up onto the mountainside, then you could spot the path and follow it quite easily. It takes you right up, fairly steep until you get onto this ridge, and then it starts to get a little bit easier to climb up. You come to this little top, and from here you do get some pretty impressive views of the full ridge of An Teallach and just how high and how narrow the summit ridge is here. You'll come to quite a steep descent, and the path, it bends to the left to start with, but you've got to be careful and not follow that path too far to the left. It then bends back round to the right, and you're going down what looks like a pretty steep sort of cliff drop off, but there is a nice easy to down climb path. It's not actually climbing, you're walking down, some big steps occasionally holding onto the rock, but there is an easy descent path that navigates and twists and turns down this descent. Brings you to a nice Bealach, go across there. You can go straight up and it's fairly steep, but there was also a bypass path on the left which I hadn't taken before, so I followed that. It gives you a good view into the Fisherfield 6 on the south. So I walked round this little top. You can see there is a path that goes up and then down the other side here. When you get round the back, you're just going directly north but descending at the same time, and then you'll join up onto this path here. None of this is difficult. You'll descend down here to another little Bealach, and the Bealach's here. And then from there, just follow the path. There's a few different variations on the path. Some of them went up a little bit to the right and then zigzagged back, but there's a clear path. Take that up. There's another little sort of Bealach right here between this sort of top here, and go up a little bit. I first of all went around a path that was a little bit lower down, and when I checked my map and the GPS I was a bit too low, so I went slightly further up. You can go up, and I don't recall any difficulties last time I did the pinnacles. On the day of the walk I just didn't feel like doing them, so I chose the easier route, and you'll see there is a clear path that goes round here. Avoids the difficulties. There's one section on the pinnacles from the last time, and it's like doing a tightrope walk. Very high up, thousands of foot drop on one side and about 50 foot drop on the other side. Follow this path, it's very clear, and then eventually you'll come to the ascent up onto Sgurr Fiona, which is an easy, slight scramble at times, but just putting your hands on the rock. There are 2 descent routes down from Sgurr Fiona. You can go down to the northwest and then bend round and join up that path. I chose to go right down the ridgeline. It's a little bit steeper, but again there was no difficulties going down the ridgeline. Follow the path down to the Teallach and then just make your way up the other side. It's quite a quick and relatively easy ascent up to the summit of Bidein at Ghlas Thuill. From this top you get an excellent view back across the ridge of An Teallach and the pinnacles. And you also have choices to descend. I'm fairly sure that the Walk Highlands route is this path here, following, and I think it goes along here and then down this ridge line here and back down. This is where the An Teallach car park is at Dundonald. What I don't like about that route is you've got a significant walk along the side of this road. There's no path at the side of the road. There's a fair amount of traffic, not too much, but there's enough. You've got to keep an eye out for it. I would recommend doing this route, this section on the descent, this last bit, just from here, rhododendron forests, and they're difficult to get through and they don't look very well maintained. Ground is very swampy, and I actually went up to my knee one time when I stepped into a muddy puddle, so it was very unpleasant. And even when you come out onto the road, there's a post at the side of the road, there's a fence, there's no gap in the fence, no gate, and it is a marked route on the map, but it's really poor condition right at the end. This path continues all the way up to here, and that was the way I was going to descend. When you're going down this valley, you're not going to get to see very much, so I chose to descend from the second Munro top, retrace your steps slightly, and then go down here. And there is actually a path. It's not the most well used path, but you do see signs of a path, and you can follow that, and it takes you along this ridge line. It gets very rocky on this section of the ridge, so there's not much signs of wear. And one of the key reasons for doing that was to be able to get a full view of An Teallach. So this is probably one of the best viewpoints of the whole face of the mountain. The one thing you don't get to see is the perspective of how steep that is, which is better viewed from the summit top here. You can then see how steep it is. From this top here, there are signs of a path from time to time, but not clear and obvious, and certainly it was difficult to follow. As you make your way down here, there is a large scree path section right here, which is actually quite easy to follow. And then from that, you make your way down. You're heading kind of east, slightly south of east. You'll see that I've got a lot of zigzags here. There are a lot of little crags, so you're just making your way down through them. You can easily walk to the left and then to the right and navigate around these little crags. And you make your way down. What I was aiming to do was to join back up to this path that's on the map here, thinking, and incorrectly assuming that that path would actually be easier to walk on. But walking across the heather, it was in most cases easier than walking on the path. It's not a very good path. So I just made my way towards that path, trying not to descend too much. Originally I was aiming to try and join the path around the 400 metre mark. I was aiming to come around here and try and keep a bit higher up. Just the nature of the terrain, it was easier just to work your way down and around and along and eventually come out, cross the stream here and then join onto the path. Navigation is easier, but the quality of the path is poor, so it's fairly rough going. When you come to the rhododendron forest, you're struggling to believe that it is a path, and when you come out the far end, it's a marsh. Very soggy, very wet. You see here you bend to the left, and then you come to a fence. There's a sort of deer fence going up and down here, so you're at that point you turn back to the right, but it's really bad. This bit just before the stream here, and you can't go round to the left or the right because there's only a small gap in the rhododendrons to get through, so it is really muddy. You'll see it in the video. Work your way through there, climb over the fence, get back onto the road, and then just walk back south down the road back to the car park. Good morning, it's 8 AM. There are two main car parks for An Teallach. One that Walk Highlands recommends, which is not the route I'm doing, and then one that's near the start of the Fisherfield 6. That car park was completely full when I arrived at 6:30. There's a small overflow car park here, and you can see how packed it was. There was one space available, so I got the last space at this side. This car park's a little bit further south than the start of the walk, so I'm going to head along the road here, heading north, and then we'll get to the start. So I'm now at the start of the walk, just a short distance round the corner there, but you can see the main car park completely full. So we're going to head up this gravel track here. And almost immediately you can see An Teallach. I'm going to do this a long walk in, so we go up that ridge straight ahead and then come back round and down. I do need to be mindful of water sources on this walk. Like last week, once you're up on the ridge, there's no springs, no streams at all. We're going to cross one river up ahead, and I've looked at the map and it looks like there's one more stream further up the hillside before we get fully onto the ridge. So I just need to remember and fill up with water at that point. Once we start descending, there's a stream. When you come to this ford, you can just go a little bit up on the left, there's a footbridge over there. Just looking back down, it's a fairly gradual climb, gets a bit steeper at the end there. Thankfully there's a breeze just now. When I stopped earlier, the midges just came out and swamped me. At some sections you're walking through clouds of midges. But the views. Ben A is over there. There's a cairn here. We've still got a little bit further on this gravel road before we turn off. Fisherfield 6. Just ahead there is where the path leaves the gravel road, and then the path goes up, and then we've got An Teallach. We're going straight ahead towards that little pointy top in the background, then all the way up that ridge line. I've not decided if I'm going to go over the pinnacles or take the bypass path. Last time, which was 25 years ago, I did go up and over the pinnacles. I don't remember the climbing being difficult, but there was one section where you're stepping across the top. They were like totem poles, the tops of these pinnacles, and you couldn't walk around them or climb down a bit. You just had to go over the top, and it was a couple of 1,000-foot drop on one side and a reasonable drop on the other side. Very uncomfortable. So we'll see what it's like when we get up there. At these two cairns, we're going to go off to the right hand side, leaving the gravel road. I'm looking back the way. I actually missed the turn off, wasn't paying attention. You need to turn off to your right as you're coming along that gravel path. There's a lower path down there which I was just following along, quite enjoying the walk. Went to check where the spring is that I want to fill up with water, and then realised I wasn't on the right path. So just straight ahead and up onto the ridge there. I've just filled up with water at this spring. As I mentioned, looks like the last point you can fill up before going on the ridge. Hour and 45 minutes into the walk, at just under 500 metres in altitude. The path is a little bit vague. You can follow it, There always is signs of a path. Sometimes it's going across rock and just a little bit trickier to follow. Hopefully now it's much clearer. I can see it up ahead as well. So we're just going up the ridge here. It's quite a steep path, easy enough to follow, a little bit rocky. That's 700 metres now. Doesn't flatten off until 926 metres. There's a very small cairn ahead and the path just fades away. Nothing visible to the left, to the right, or even straight ahead. So just going to make my way up this boulder field. There is a little pointy top ahead, so it'll be fairly obvious on a clear day like today where to go. To decrease the gradient, I was climbing up a zigzag across to the right. And I've come across another path here. And I'll probably just zigzag back to the left. Just makes it a little bit easier to climb up. Yeah, you get better views on the right hand side. It does ease off a little bit at 800 metres. There's a reasonable sized cairn there, marking the top of this ascent. Currently at 950 metres, and Sgurr Fiona is that pointy top just there. And then the second summit, Bidein, Ghlas Thuill, is over there. I can see somebody climbing up there. I think I'm going to take the bypass today. Not as brave as I was when I was younger. I remember why this walk took so long the last time. You just keep stopping to take in the view. When you come to this drop, I think you want to keep to the left. Just make your way down here. Looking back up, you start off to the left, but then you come back down to the middle. I think people go down that side, but it looks a bit more dangerous. So just make your way down the centre, and zigzag down here. That's okay, there's no scrambling as such, a few big steps. There is a big drop, so if you're not keen on heights, it's not very comfortable. We continue along here. Looks like there's the first of a bypass path. At this point you can go around this little top or you can go up onto it. I think I'm going to go around, see what that looks like. It's quite a narrow and exposed path that. It's okay, maybe in the wet it might be a different story. A mountain goat. So continue to follow this path around the side here, it'll descend down to the Teallach there and go up the other side, and it certainly goes up either way. Those people are walking to the right, I can see a clear path to the left going up to that green part there, just heading for that bit there. Hopefully they're just out for a training exercise. Right now it's a little bit tricky to make out where the path goes. You can see kind of signs of wear going down there, but I can also see a drop. I don't really want to go over that. And there's obviously an edge at the ridge there. So I'm going to go straight along to the ridge and see if it opens up. You can see that walker down there is coming over to my left, but they may just be contouring round. I think that walker up there is at the point of go round the bypass or go and climb up the top, roughly there. Getting past that little ridge line, it's opened up nicely. We'll just make our way down here towards where that walker is, then go across and up the other side. So made it down to the Teallach. Just going to zigzag up here. We'll see where the path goes. Just looking back again, almost level with that little top over there, pretty much level with this top here. This is where the path splits. If you're a confident rock climber, no issue with heights. If you're like me 20 years ago, then you can go straight up there and climb up onto the top. Today I'm going to take the bypass path. I've never been around here, so something new and definitely less nerve-wracking. just tried that path there, but it's not the right one. It's a bit too low. So we need to go a bit higher up and then round to the left. So I'm going to go up here and go around the left up there. This looks better. I'm still not sure which one of these two paths. The upper one or the lower one. I'll try the lower one. And I'll check the GPS again. Yeah, this definitely looks better to me. This walk is okay along the side here, a little bit exposed at times. You do need to be careful, one slip could be quite painful. You can see people on the summit of Sgurr Fiona. Lord Berkeley's seat up there, with the rock overhangs. At the summit of Sgurr Fiona.
Because you've got that drop either side that it gets a good day. See you later, big cat.
From the summit of Sgurr Fiona, you want to head almost directly north, down here, along that ridge line. Clear and obvious today. The next top over there. Straightforward enough descent, keeping to the right hand side as you come down. Going right along the edge of the ridge is mostly quite easy. Occasionally you've got to turn to the left, but no difficulties coming down there. Looks worse than it is. So we're at the Bidein, wind's picked up a little bit. Just head across and up the other side. I think this is a fairly easy part of the walk. You can see looking back there is a easy path on the right hand side. Let's go up to the ridgeline and zigzag back up onto the top. summit of Bidein at Ghlas Thuill. From the summit you can continue north down the left hand side of this ridge here, aim down to that Teallach where those people are, and from there you can go over to the right hand side and descend down that valley. There is a marked path in the OS maps that goes down there. Last time we did this we actually went back down the path here and went along this ridge directly ahead, descended off the far end of that. Then I'm not sure, I don't know if we actually just joined this path, cut across. You can't really go straight back out to the path I came in on. There's too much of a gorge and a river and a steep slope to climb up the other side. It's taken 5 hours to get to the second top. I think I'm going to go along the ridge. You can actually see somebody at the very end of it right now, and it looks like I've descended down there before, so it is a gradual slope. Looking at it from here, you go straight over from where we're looking. You keep away from the left hand side, go down the right hand side, and once I get off the end, join up with the path that goes down the left hand valley here. I get better views from over there. So from that top you want to head slightly south of directly east. I'm going to go along this eastern ridge. There's a clear path here. You certainly get a nice view from this path. Let's keep making way along the ridge here. On the last top of the day, just going to keep heading straight over here, keep a little bit to the right, keep away from the crags that are on the left, and make my way down. As you're descending down here, you don't want to go too much to the left. You can see there's big crags and drops. And on the right hand side it's a bit steeper as well, so it's really straight ahead down the middle as I'm looking. Most of these rocks are pretty secure, some are loose. Just got to be careful when you put your weight in them. No path to follow, so it's just working your way down through this boulder field. Found definite signs of a path here. Keeping on, it might be a bit tricky. You can see it just ahead there. Let's see how we go. You're probably better just sticking to the path. It's a wee bit tricky coming down here. At the top the rocks were quite secure, they're getting a little bit looser down here. This scree is a bit like walking on marbles. It's a definite path. Doesn't look like it gets used much. I've just got to the end of the really rocky section. I've only descended 250 metres. There's about another 350 metres to go before we contour round to the left and then join up with the path. Definitely getting a little bit more interesting to descend. I need to zigzag a little bit through these little crags. Trying to go kind of straight ahead there. Sometimes the OS maps show crags where they don't exist, as I've shown in previous videos. Today there's lots of little crags, so the map is accurate. I'm going to go across to the right, and then I think I can go all the way across to the left, and then down somewhere over there. It's a little bit of a maze, and you just got to pick your way down. I'm now below the worst of the crags shown on the map. I really need to just drop about another 50 metres and head north. And so it looks okay straight ahead, which is kind of north direction. I think I could descend that 50 metres as I'm going north. And then I'll join up with the path that's on the map. I'm at the right altitude for contouring round the mountain here. I just want to stay at this sort of height. It's okay to drop a little bit and go directly north, and that'll take me onto the path. That path is 1 kilometre away. I'm getting close to the path. That stream you can see down there to the left of the little lock-in, that runs all the way up just ahead of me. You can actually hear it in the background. And the path is on the other side of the stream, just over there. So there you can see where the path is with that walker up there. Just got to cross this river. Just refilled my water bottle. Nice and cold, refreshing. That is the path, that erosion on the other side of the bank, that's the path right there. So just heads down that way. Just going to jump over the river at this point and then follow that out. Yeah, I'm not enjoying this path very much. Okay, you don't need to navigate anymore, you can just follow it. It's quite mushy, slippy, boggy. Yeah, rough going. 1.5 kilometres to go until we're back on the main road. Oh, it looks nice. One last look at An Teallach. Path's improved significantly now. Not far to go to get back down onto the road. Right turn and then you'll be back at the car park. Just stopped to have a drink. 1.7 kilometres back to the van. Estimated to take about half an hour to walk. Well, that was something, the hidden path through the rhododendron forest. When you come out the end, it's a real swamp. Almost lost my foot. Not entirely sure where the path goes. So coming out of the rhododendrons over there, don't go down the path to the right. You're going to go across this boggy section. Somewhere on the left hand side, there's a path that eventually goes out to the right. When you come to this fence line, you then turn to the right. This whole section is a swamp with the associated flying creatures that land in you. I think today's walk, I would actually recommend just following the Walk Highlands route. If I do it again, I'll try that route. I didn't come down this descent path the last time. We must have cut right across back to the approach path we went up. Don't remember any of this. Not much fun. Almost at the main road, so we'll soon get past this. Just went a foot down in that bog there. Not pleased. The road's just through there. You've got to climb over a fence to get out. And there's the post marking the start of the path. Absolute joke. Now that I'm on the road, turn to your right and follow the road back. I definitely do not recommend coming down that path. That was one of the very worst. That's me back at the car park. 9 hours since leaving. It's 7 hours according to OS Maps. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. I look forward to showing you more in the next one, and bye for now.